wanted to make this a live experience. So this will be the first one where we actually have a video instead of going live. But you'll see, we looked at it earlier today. It was actually done today, this morning. Roberto and his beautiful, wonderful camera person, who happens to be his daughter, filmed it as both at the hotel that we'll feature today, as well as through the streets of town. So just a few things. One is, again, I want to just say thanks. I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that all of you have been to Venice. The first time I was in Venice was, I think, 1968. There weren't as many people on the streets. It was a different kind of town. Not only was Venice different, but I was pretty different. I had a lot of hair in those days. I was telling Johnny earlier today, I don't know if many of you are familiar with the movie Summertime with Katharine Hepburn, where she falls into the water. She falls in love with a merchant, actually, in Venice, falls in love with her, owns an antique store. It's a wonderful story, interesting film. You should watch it if you haven't. And I thought of it because in 1968, I actually fell into the canal. It was an interesting experience, all of a sudden seeing myself surrounded with 50 Venetians all worried that I was going to drown. But I did everything but ruin my red leather patent shoes, which I don't want to have to show you, but I wish I still had them today. Suede and red patent leather. But it was 1968, so. Anyway, today I want to introduce you to Roberto. Roberto is our partner in Venice, owns a company, has owned it for many years, called Destination Venice. He helps us with excursions and transfers. He's our eyes and ears on the ground. We could never do what we do without support from Roberto and people like him throughout all of Europe. In addition, we're going to go and we're going to visit Casa Gredo. The Casa Gredo, it's a beautiful hotel. Some of you may have already put guests into it. It's an old palace from the 15th century, and it became a hotel about a dozen years ago. Absolutely magnificent, beautiful deluxe property. The general manager is a lovely woman. Her name is Lorenza Lain. Lorenza, she started her life not in the hotel business. She has a PhD in art history, and there's a lot of she is very involved in Venice. She's the vice president of the Association of Hoteliers. So any questions you have, obviously Roberto will answer whatever he can during it. We really want you guys to get involved. Ask as many questions as you want, whether it's about the hotel or about the COVID situation in Venice. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just pass this over to Roberto now, and or back to Johnny. And what we'll do is we'll start the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And yes, we will start with a presentation that include everything that just Tom said. And then at the end of the presentation, we will chat a little bit together regarding the Venice as a destination. So if you have any question on the meantime while you are watching the presentation, just write it down and Tom will take care to answer to you. So let me share my screen, and we will start the presentation. Can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So Venice, the Enchanted Lagoon, and this is Venice. Really, this is what the astronauts saw from the sky. Venice, as you can see, is a lagoon, and the area of Venice. This is obviously the main island in the middle. Here you have the Lido. Those are the island of Murano. This is the cemetery of Venice, which is the San Michele, where there is also a very, very well-known American citizen buried here, Ezra Pound. So this is the Isla of San Michele. This is the other part of Venice, the other quarter, which is Giudecca. The airport is on that direction. The airport of Venice is on this direction. And the major important area of Venice, here you have San Marco, let me grab my pen. Okay, this is the San Marco Square, the area of San Marco. This is the Rialto.
Can we get a little closer, Johnny?
Okay.
Perfect.
The only problem I lose my my pen. So anyway, this is San Marco Square, Rialto. And then when you are in Venice, most of the time you hear saying that the hotel is, I don't know, in San Marco area. Other time you can listen is in Cannaregio, other in Dorso Duro. What are those words and those areas? So let's start. This is when you said an hotel is in the San Marco area. This is the San Marco area. This is and so an hotel that is located in San Marco area can be in any of those locations. Then you have the area of Cannaregio. Cannaregio is one of the biggest area, and it covers all these portion of Venice. So this is the Cannaregio area. This is the railway station. That is included inside. This is the railway station. This is the port, the harbor, what that they call it, the Tronchetto. And then you have the area of here. This area here is San Polo, what you call San Polo. This is the area of Santa Croce. And all this area that here, this one, all this area, this is Dorso Duro, what we call Dorso Duro. And then you have the rest of Venice, all this portion here, this is Castello, the area of Castello. This is the island of the Giudecca, as I said, with the island of San Giorgio. This is the island of San Giorgio. This is the island of Grace, Grazia, okay, and this is mainly Venice as we know. This is the bridge that links Venice to Mestre and obviously the mainland of Italy. So now you are a little bit more familiar with the area of Venice. Let's move forward with the next slide. And this is the video, the first video that Roberto did this morning. So we have seen Venice not very well known with the lagoon and so forth, so on. And those are the landmark of Venice. Obviously, who doesn't know the Doge Palace or St. Mark's Square or Rialto Bridge, the Grand Canal, the Bridge of Sighs. But there are also other things in Venice that are not very well known. And let me show some of them that can be very, very interesting. The first one is the island of Burano. And you can see the type of landscape that you have in front of you with all those painted house. And the reason why they painted this house to identify each property. So each property has a different color. At the time, there were not too much of, recording of the property and so forth, so on. So each one was painting his house on a different color to identify exactly what was the beginning and the end of each own property. This is a very, very nice experience, Burano. And Burano, I don't know how many of you knows, is where the lace are created by the woman of the island. The other thing is the mask. You know, Florence, Venice is known for the carnival. The carnival of Venice is one of the most renowned events in the world, and there are mask workshops that create those masks, and it's worth it really the visit to one of them, because it's something that is unbelievable. And if you want, you can even try to create one on your own. The other thing, everybody knows the clock tower of the St. Mark's Square, but there are other little towers, and one of these is the Scala Contarini del Bovolo that I picture here. Is a bent tower that has a stairs that goes up to the top, which is about 90 feet high, and you can see all the roof of Venice. This is also something that worth the trip. The other one, the gondola, where the gondola are done and the gondola are repaired. We can go to visit one of those laboratories where they really master cutters. They cut the wood to create those, and they repair also the gondolas. And I mix a little bit also. Another very nice sightseeing is the Cicchetto, and you can see 2 glasses of wine and some really very particular kind of tapas, if you want, that they are part of the small snacks that you can taste while doing this kind of excursion. And then this is also San Zaccaria is a crypt that is flooded with water. And if you can see on the picture on your right side, it seems that you have 2 tombs, or a column that is exactly up. No, is the reflection of the top into the water that gives this effect. Is really something incredible. And not least is the Jewish ghetto. This is also a spot that is years and years old. It's one of the oldest Jewish quarter that was created in Italy, and worth really the trip to go to visit. And this is not really part of the regular tour that you can do in Venice. Obviously, Venice is very well known by some landmark hotel. And here, who doesn't know the Danieli, the Gritti Palace, the Bauer, Palazzo Bauer, the Luna Baglioni? Those are really the historical hotel of Venice. But today, we want to introduce you to these properties, Palazzo Casagredo. And this morning, our friend Roberto went to the hotel, and this is what he created for us.
Good morning, my name is Roberto Boehm with Destination Venice, and today we are at Palazzo Casagredo with the GM of the building of the palace, Lorenza Line, which will describe a bit of the palace and how she's working to recover from COVID-19.
Thank you, Roberto, for being here today. So first of all, hi to everybody, buongiorno, and welcome to Venice. We are right in front of the Rialto market, and Casagredo is a beautiful palace dating of the 16th century. That will belong to the original Sagredo family for over 600 years. So this is the outdoor, and then we can go inside. The entrance of the palace and what is now the lobby. We do have beautiful staircase. So this is the original staircase of the palace dating back to 1734. We have the Hall of the Giants, the original fresco from Pietro Longhi. You can also see, if you want, the signature of the artist right on the wall. Casagredo is the only hotel in Italy that has been declared a national monument. It's fully protected by the fine arts. Everything that you see is original, dating from the 16th century to the 19th century. The palace was turned into a hotel 12 years ago. We only have 42 rooms, of which more than half, 20, are suites and junior suite, because we kept the original implant as far as the architecture and the art is concerned of the original family palace. This is the Portico, which has a beautiful view on the Grand Canal. As you can see, we are hosting a temporary exhibition by the artist Mirella Rutelli, and we often host temporary art galleries or painting exhibition or cultural events. This is a little bit of what we do at Casagredo in order to preserve the original spirit of what the Sagredo family did. They were not only merchants, but they were also patrons of the arts. And a lot of very famous people lived here. For example, the original library that you can see over there is the library where Galileo Galilei lived 1 year of his life and dedicated one of his most important books called The Parallelism of the Universe to the Sagredo family. Emergency moment. So what we are doing, we are trying, of course, as we work with Destination Venice and Roberto himself, we are trying to promote Venice as a destination. Of course, Venice is a very safe and protected destination, which helps us a lot. It is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. So I'm very fully confident that people will come back to Venice. So we are doing a lot of promotions, especially we are starting, for example, a special package for the winter time called Winter in Venice, because we want to promote Venice not only in the summertime, but also in the winter and the Christmas, which is also very beautiful in Venice. So we welcome everybody to come to Venice during next winter. Thank you.
And what are the safety measures that you are applying?
The hotel is an independent hotel but belongs to an affiliation called Hotel Association of Venice. So we have started a special protocol and safety measures that have been applied since the March times. We are very lucky because we have a lot of space, 6,000 square meters for only 42 rooms. So as far as the distance, for example, is concerned, we have no problems. We are, of course, using safety protocols, and we have enhanced the safety protocols that we already had in the rooms, in the cleaning, in the housekeeping, especially procedures. But I think the clients are very confident because when they come to a 5-star hotel, they know that the safety measures are always respected. Of course, we have increased what our levels were before.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the local hotel association, which you are vice president, what do you think? What are the plans that your association is doing?
Yes. Well, for example, we are doing an event, actually the first tourist event after the emergency, which is going to be in 2 days at the airport in Venice. So we are promoting the hotels, not just the hotels, but also the suppliers, agencies or museums. We are inviting everybody to come to this event in 2 days because we want to show there is a networking connection more than it was before between all the different suppliers in Venice and partners. Travel agencies, the museums are very important. You know, also the city and the mayor of Venice are working in promoting the city. So we are really trying to find a lot of institutional support, which is very important. And we would like to do more events in the fall time, so starting from October and November.
Okay. Thank you, Lorenza.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you can see, Venice is going back to normal. There are some tourists and normal life people, local people walking around with or without masks, and because the city is quite safe. Being an island, there are limited people coming to Venice and living in Venice, and definitely it's a safe situation. You see, the street, this is called Strada Nuova. It's a main street connecting the train station to Rialto Bridge, and it's crowded. I wouldn't say full of people as it used to be last year, but it's quite crowded with tourists as well.
Now we are in a little square called Santi Apostoli, typical Venetian little square with a church and a beautiful bell tower.
Now we are entering a side street beside the church, and we see how the real Venice looks like and how people is getting around. There are not too many tourists around, so the streets might seem to be empty, but there are people visiting Venice. This is, I would say, this is a very good time to visit the city because it's less crowded and quite safe.
Follow me, we're going to this side small street.
This is another typical square, little square, mostly unknown to tourists. And there are lots of people still living here. There is a small osteria here with some tables outside, and it's quite nice. Now it's very early in the morning, so there are no people seated, but usually there are local people seated as well. And these streets are going back to Rialto. This is where we're heading to. It's a very unusual to hear the footstep. A few months ago, when there were lots of people visiting the city, it was almost impossible. But it is very characteristic and typical to hear the footsteps while you're walking around the streets and these small calles. Here you can see another typical osteria, which is now closed for the COVID. Now we're crossing a little bridge, and you see there is this hook which is typical, and if you bang it, means good luck. This is an inside canal, and you can see it's very quiet, very calm. There are no boats and no gondolas because there are not too many people. It looks fantastic, and we can sometimes see the bottom of the canal, which is plenty of fishes because the water is very clear and calm, and this is really amazing. And this is real Venice. Venice, how it looked like hundreds years ago when there were no motorboats and the only mean of transportation was a gondola and other rowing boats. But on the other side of the bridge, you can see a few tourists in a gondola and another boat, rowing boat, and going slowly on this canal, and the water is very calm, and you see a few people on the gondola because now there is a new rule that a gondolier can take only 5 passengers maximum, not 6 as it used to be before. This beautiful house with the flowers, which looks very typical of Italy and Venice as well. This is a very typical house facing the canal or the water, and sometimes the water reflects the sunlight inside the house, so that the house, although it's on the ground floor and with maybe low ceiling, it's very lighted because the sun reflecting on the water gets some lights inside. Now this is a typical Venetian square with a church and a well. This is a well where people were getting drinkable water from, and you can see there are four drains in the corner, 4 corners, and underneath there is a sand and stones to get the rain going through those stones and sand to gather all the waters and get them clear, so and drinkable. So the water was then collected underneath the well, and so people with buckets could get the water from. Okay, now we are in a typical street of Canaleggio with fruit shops and posterias and any kind of shops for local people. So people don't need to go outside the city to get anything they need. And you can see people are easily walking around the street. And there are tourists and local people as well as this typical historical restaurant selling local food. As a local, it's now unusual to see more Venetians than before, because before the city was crowded with just tourists, and the Venetians were staying home or away from the city center. But now with low tourists, local people are going back to more famous and popular places. So when I walk along the streets, on the streets, I can meet people, and sometimes we stop and talk as we used to do it 20 or 30 years ago. Typical square near Riva Alto Bridge. We're very close to Rialto area, and this bridge is called Ponte dei Giocattoli, as you can see, because there were these shops now selling masks used to sell toys for kids. When I was a kid, my mom was coming here to get toys for me, Lego and other kind of toys. So when the shops closed a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and they opened a more touristic place, the mayor decided to name this bridge Ponte dei Giocattoli, that means Toys Bridge.
come with me that we're going to see a very, very unusual and hidden place. I don't need sunglasses on these side streets because sometimes they are dark. And you see here, this step was done a few years ago because of the high tide. So they raised the pavement in order not to get water here on the streets. But unfortunately, high tide and water is still going into those doors. And this is how the city is going to be. They're trying to raise all the pavements and the floors of the houses in order to avoid the flooding. But it's quite difficult and quite expensive. Lots of docks along the Grand Canal during the daytime, especially in the morning, are used to deliver goods or for the garbage, people that get the garbage from all the houses. And this is one of those, very famous, because it is right in front of Rialto and Rialto Bridge. Just across Rialto Bridge, and this guy getting off the boat is a friend of mine, Nicola, and he's the owner of a boatyard in Murano, the Grand Canal, opposite to Rialto Bridge, and the Reddish Palace on the right-hand side with the flags, the Venetian flag, is Casa Gredo, is where we used to take a video before. And this is a gondola that connects Rialto with the other side of the canal. And this is a typical Venetian building with Gothic style windows and the staircase outside. This is very typical, and it looks like a palace. I mean, all the palaces in Venice, they have this kind of structure. This is the courtyard, and then there is a staircase, a marble staircase. And as you can see, this is a regular day in Venice with few tourists, but quite safe, and people are very comfortable being outside, wearing or not wearing masks, because now it's not mandatory to wear it, but the distance inside the shops and the restaurant are still remaining, but it's much better now. This is a very famous pasta shop, a pasta maker. They have the laboratory inside, and this is a very old shop. We're getting to a more crowded area, which is Rialto. And as you can see from this bridge, you can see part of Rialto and the Grand Canal with the gondolier waiting for a boat opposite to come. Just passing under the bridge, you can hear the noise. Oh, that's working boat. Oh, kind of traffic. They know how to handle it, and they're quite safe, and they're trying not to hit buildings that could be destroyed, as you can see the boat. So, now we're going to Rialto, and
As you can see, there are more tourists here, and bars along the Grand Canal are open. Public boats, operators are passing by. Now we're climbing Rialto Bridge on the top, and you can see the Grand Canal. It's calm, few gondoliers, and sometimes there is a barge or working boats passing by. Opposite, few stands on the way gets into the square. As you can see from the crowd, this is the most requested picture point of Venice. On the top of the Alto facing the Grand Canal. Barges and water taxis, and they are allowed to come into the Grand Canal only in the morning, and because of their coming on the Grand Canal to deliver goods, tourist boats are not allowed, motor tourist boats are not allowed to get into the Grand Canal before 4 p.m. So until 4 p.m. these barges can come. After 4 p.m. they're not allowed to come, and then it will be private boats and tourist boats, small tourist boats, not big ones, small as water taxis. Now in the morning, water taxis are working as a taxi and cannot be rented for hours or for a day, while it is possible to do it in the afternoon. There is a thing like Now we're going through a very tiny side street, getting to a cozy square, little square, just behind our office. This little square is called Porta del Teatro because behind me there is the Goldoni Theatre, which is a modern theatre, nothing to be compared to La Fenice, the more famous opera theatre. And this is a very nice little square, and also because of the typical staircase and plants and trees, which is very, very typical of a small Venetian square. And this restaurant is a very good one because it has a lot of space inside, about 200 seats, plus this open space that can be arranged for groups or for individuals coming. They're offering Venetian cuisine, and because of the owner was from Umbria, they also have some dishes with truffle. And now we are in Campo San Luca, which is the city center of Venice, and that holds is the geographically center of the city. We are not too far from St. Mark's Square, about 2 minutes walking, and not too far from Rialto Bridge. This place, this square, is where our office is located. This is the door of our office, which is located on the second floor. As you can see, this is a very Venetian building with the Renaissance style, although the building was constructed a lot later, I would say around the 19th century, 18 something. Now I'm going back to work. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Okay, have you ever expected to be in Venice this morning? Okay, I hope that you enjoy your the walk in Venice, that you have discovered some new things in Venice, thanks to Roberto. And Tom, is your micro.
Hi again, everyone. Yeah, it was great. It was great to walk through the streets, and it was interesting. And I was having a conversation with Roberto earlier in the morning, and it's interesting to see how easy it is now to walk around. And I think that it's going to be that way for the next few years until we recover completely. So once we're able to travel again as Americans into Venice and everywhere else, I think it's just going to be a really interesting experience for your customers that are actually ready to go. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to Roberto and let him talk a bit. And I know that some of you have asked some questions, and one of them was, Roberto, one of them was about masks, the need to wear a mask walking the streets or in the shops or in the restaurants, or also in the hotels. So what's your thought on it? What are you seeing?
Oh, yes. Hi to everybody. The mask is mandatory in the restaurants, at the bar, in a hotel, anywhere inside a space. Outside on the street is not mandatory, as you saw during the videos this morning. At the hotel, we were not wearing masks because we were alone, and we kept the distance between us. But absolutely mandatory to wear masks inside the hotels or a restaurant. You have to get in the restaurant with a mask, and when you are seated, you can take it off. But
and the staff in the hotel
must wear masks. At the hotel, the receptionist didn't wear it. I don't know if you saw it, but I knew because we were filming. That's why. But she was wearing the mask before and just after we went up the stairs. So absolutely mandatory. Absolutely the distances, and people here which were very, very much afraid of the virus are respecting those rules very well. You know, Venice lives with tourism because everything is related to tourism, even the shops selling shoes or shirts or food, everything. Lawyers and everybody. So we are very much, we are paying a lot of attention to it because we want to get back to normal life with regular tourists. There will be less tourists than before, and which is a good thing, I think. Also for the city and for our business, because our clients will be happier to be alone on the streets. Although I know some areas where I used to go when I was a kid to get lost. And now, which I'm not a kid anymore, I'm not getting lost, but you know, it's interesting to go there because you don't see anybody, absolutely. Those areas have churches, very old museums, small canals, and not usually visited by tourists. In the next few days, we will make some other videos with this area. One of the areas is Canareggio. It's a northwest of Venice, of the fish, because Venice is like a fish, the shape, it has a fish shape. So on the northwest of the area is called Canareggio. It's where the Jewish quarter is, that includes the ghetto, as Tom was mentioning to me this morning, that the ghetto word started just from Venice because it meant a ghetto, which was a ghetto of fire, because there was a foundry. In fact, the ghetto is surrounded by a canal just to keep the fire inside in case of a big fire event, to protect the island, as they did with Murano, with the glass factories, because the glass factory at the very beginning were inside the city, but then it was so dangerous for the citizen and for the houses, and there were so many glass factories producing glass and vases and chandeliers that they had to move all those production to a different island, which was Murano. And so Murano is isolated from the city because of this. And all the glass factories are there. Only maybe one glass factory is still remaining in St. Mark's Square, but this is just for tourists, for a quick visit. So we are talking, thinking, and working on promoting Venice with a different point of view, offering absolutely different solutions, with less crowd, different tours, more private tour than public ones, because public one, we provide public tours with our consortia, which I am the president, but you know, it's very, very limited. Now those public tours are limited to 10 people max. We have to make a reservation well in advance. And there are the museums like the Doge's Palace and the Basilica are open just few days during the week. And now they're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because of Italian tourists coming to Venice. In summertime, we usually have less Italian tourists because it's too hot, and we prefer to go to the beach or to the mountain instead of a city. And we get other foreigner tourists, like mostly from Europe and America used to be last year. And the visit, it's quite nice, private, public, but private is absolutely amazing. Now with less tourists, the guides, hotels, restaurants, everybody is more available and more pleased to get tourists and welcome those people.
Roberto, I just just out of curiosity, I think that Arthur was wanting to ask a question. Is that right? No?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I did have, there was someone had asked a question about that it felt crowded at one point, and to me that was the Rialto Bridge. Yeah. Generally speaking, it's always very crowded at the Rialto Bridge. But at the end of the day, what I have always heard is get lost in Venice. Let yourself get lost. There are so many areas that are beautiful and quiet, residential, things that you can see, museums that are not near Rialto. So there are many things that can be done. You know, this city is a perfect place to get lost.
Yeah, and there are some other locations that they are not very well known, but they are really the life of Venice, like a fish market. The fish market in San Polo is really the real life of Venetian, and if you have the possibility to get there in the morning when the market is going on, is something unbelievable. Because also there is say in Italy that the fish of the Adriatic Sea is the best fish in Italy. So this is something also important, because Venice is obviously on the Adriatic Sea, and is really something that should worth the trip to go to see. Those are little things to build your itinerary for your clients.
Roberto, Susan was asking about the Vaporato. Are they operating normally? Do you need to wear a mask? Is there anything that we need to know?
Well, at the Teatro La Fenice, where the opera is played, they just moved
No, Vaporato. Not
oh,
the
Vaporetto.
yeah,
Oh, yes, absolutely. You must wear a mask on the boat, on the public boat, the Vaporetto. Absolutely.
Good.
No, you cannot enter without a mask.
And it's operating as normal?
Yes, it's operating as normal. Every 12 minutes there is a boat going to Piazzale Roma, Rialto, and St. Mark's Square. But they check if you're wearing a mask, and also on the water taxis, driver must wear a mask.
Is there any change in terms of transfers? Any shifts to?
Not really. Well, at the airport, it's recommended an assistant to welcome clients, because the arrival terminal is closed. So we can meet clients just outside, not inside the terminal. So clients must get a cart with the luggage and everything, and then our assistant can meet them outside. This probably will last until to next year, because these huge spaces are difficult to be managed with based on the security we must have now. So they walk, or they to the boat station, and then there is the person in charge of giving the correct boat to the hotel. Clients that doesn't have to wear masks, do not have to wear masks, but the driver must.
One of the things that happen in Venice is, you know, Roberto was talking about, is the acqua alta, the high water. And recently they tested the new huge construction that they did in the water, which are a wall that come up when there is the situation of the high rise of the water, to avoid that Venice go underwater. And this construction that is now, how many years, Roberto, that they were working on it? I believe
maybe 15.
15 years. Finally, last week was tested, and all the piece of wall that come from the bottom of the sea up to block the sea was really tested positively, and now they are finalized the work, and they hope that by next year the system will be in place to avoid Venice to be underwater.
And also, I was going to ask: is there any changes with regard to cruises arriving in Venice?
Well, the first cruise, and probably the only one, will be on August 15. That will be a Costa cruise. Now there is a big discussion if cruise ships can come to Venice inside the lagoon or not. For the business, it's a huge business, but for the environment, cruise ships are too big for the local environment for the lagoon. So they're talking about moving those docks on the mainland, near the mainland, and doing some connection, straight connection with the airport from this new port to the airport and to the city. But for the time being, we are going to get only few cruise ships. Then probably those huge ones will be docking on the mainland, while smaller ones, but still real cruise ships, can come straight to Venice.
And in terms of pricing, we had an inquiry about, have you got a sense of where, what pricing is going to look like in 2021?
For sure, there will be the same prices as today. There will be no increase. I don't know if it will be a decrease of prices, but definitely, but I would say we will keep the same prices as this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This hour has flown by. I hope that you guys really, Roberto, I have to thank you. It was such a wonderful video that you put together this morning. Thank your daughter for us as well, your camera person. And if anyone has any specific questions to ask, feel free to write. We're happy to reach out and answer your questions. I think that we are scheduled to have our next Venice presentation in a couple of weeks. Later this week, we have the Aeolian Islands. When is our next Venice? Is on the
20th, on the 20th of July, and after tomorrow, because unfortunately the one of Piedmont that was supposed to be tomorrow has been postponed at the 30th, and after tomorrow we're going to have a another very nice presentation on the Aeolian Island in Sicily. So this will be a great new destination that I hope you all attend, because it's worth it. So let's do now the price for this event, for this webinar. We have the two prices. One is the $300 coupon, and the second one is the 2 nights hotel accommodation in Venice for 2 people. So let me see the computer. What give me as the price? The $300 is to Ralph Vasami, and 2 nights hotel accommodation is to Jennifer Dennis. So those are the winner of the prize of today. Thank you again to everybody, and we hope to see you on our next presentation.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations,
Bye.
Ralph. And
Ciao, Roberto.
Ciao,
ciao,
tutti.
Roberto.
Ciao, ciao.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.